There are people who come in very confident, but they are confident as long as things are going according to plan.
Yes. We have these invisible barriers, and we, until you break through them, then you realize the possibilities. But a lot of people find that difficult.
I came in so full of myself thinking, I do stand-up comedy. I'm a decent improviser. I'm going to nail this. And then every time I've done it, I've been horrible at it.
Hey, I'm Lisa Hugo, and I am obsessed with helping other people find their voices so they can go out and take on the world, be seen as an authority, an expert, and grow their business by sharing that knowledge and expertise with others. Now, I studied performing arts, and I spent 20 years of my career traveling the world as a professional singer-songwriter. I teach you the secrets to speak up and be heard, overcome your fears, and then use these skills to build a business and a life that you love and that could change both your own life and the lives of others. This is your one-stop shop for all things that are going to help you to build a life on your terms. This is Impact Through Voice.
Well, welcome back to the Impact Through Voice podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Hugo. I'm back in the studio, and today I'm sitting down with Salman Qureshi. Salman is an actor. He's a comedian. He's a theatre improviser, let's say, and he's been featured in media. He's been nominated for awards around the globe. So I'm very excited to chat with him today, and we're going to be focusing specifically on executive public speaking work and how drama and improvisation fits into that. So without further ado, welcome,
Thank
Salman.
you, Lisa. Thank you. I can't introduce myself better than that. I want to record that and use that as my elevator pitch, if that's okay. But no, thank you for the wonderful entry. It just reminds me, I've never won any of those awards.
Well, I mean, a nomination is pretty good.
Yeah, and that was great. But I have been lucky to, have fallen into this area, particularly in the Middle East when it was just kind of starting out. And I'm excited to be here to talk about the exec side of it and how improv helps with all of that. Yeah.
I was almost going to introduce you as an expat brat
Yeah.
because you have a podcast called The Expat Brat podcast.
I didn't think it would be that hard to say. I thought it would rhyme easier, but I've realized since.
Yeah. So you did grow up in this region,
Yes.
let's say as an expat, whether you're a brat or not.
Yeah. I think the bratty side was an acknowledgement of the fact that when you grow up here, life is a little bit easier than until you step out and realize you have to do so many things on your own. And I was well protected. And I think that's what I refer to as the bratty.
Yeah. It was interesting. I was even saying to my daughter Emma today that you've grown up with a very privileged lifestyle where everything is sort of just there for you. You walk into a place, you get sort of VIP treatment, and it's going to be very different when you go somewhere else and you don't have that luxury of, all the things that we have.
Well, how do you
that we
prep
take
for that as well? How do you prep your kids for it? What do you send them to a boot camp? Because I got sent to a dorm, to the dorms, and then it was like, I don't know how to use the washing machine or who makes my bed. It was really, I don't know if Emma's that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to say my kids have had some experience. They do their own washing at times. Yeah.
I was a proper brat then.
And they cook.
Wonderful. Yeah. That was one thing and this is pre-common internet. So it wasn't like I could download a recipe for cooking. It was calling your mom up and going, hey, that thing I refused to eat when I was growing up? I miss it now. Could I have the ingredients?
Have the recipe and a full instruction of how to put it together.
Yes. Yeah. So it was cool for me to do this. I didn't picture myself. I come from a traditional corporate background in terms of HR and everything. And then it was a bit of a leap of faith. And when I look back at it, a little bit of like, I mean, if I look back at it, I'd be like, whoa, what are you thinking? Don't do it.
So tell us about that. You didn't go straight into acting and comedy. You started off in a corporate career.
Yeah, I did. I did like speaking in front of, I didn't, the first time someone asked me to do that, I was petrified. I hadn't done it, but I always did enjoy dancing. I enjoyed performing. And so there was a little bit of it. I think that naturally led me to a field that was kind of close in my mind. And growing up in the 80s and 90s in the Middle East, you didn't really think about theater and stuff as a viable career, at least not out here. There was nothing.
There was nothing when I first came here in 2007.
And culturally as well. You know, we are one generation away from, for my family at least, who kind of were starting to establish themselves and everything. And so most parents want you to have a safe career. And I think that was what happened. I chose business studies. I did my master's in international business just because it was the safest thing to do. And then my past career was all about training and development, and I do have a passion for it even now. I think it's a really cool thing to take people through growth and see that happen in them. I'm not trying to be cheesy about it. I genuinely enjoy that aspect of it. Yeah. And I worked in different industries while I was in it. I've been lucky to have some great bosses, vast amounts of interesting experiences with that. And I think I would have stuck to it if I hadn't been jolted by things like the financial crisis or the next place where I was in. And those things just kind of opened the way to look at things differently.
It's interesting because you've come from corporate, but now you're working with corporates and executives in trainings and helping them to, to be more confident and clear and relaxed in the way that they present and also work within their teams. You must have seen a lot of this when you were in corporate, how people struggle.
Yes.
Especially if you're in L&D, learning and development.
Yeah, it was, and again, this part of the world, I think particularly, even with people coming from everywhere, to be honest, that wasn't something people thought about too much. And as you advance, I don't think a lot of people had that support. Even with L&D departments, we do tick in the box kind of things about sending them off to do a presentation course. And too many of them were dull, PowerPoint heavy, theoretical stuff. I'm sure you would have seen them too. And so there was a wide gap between expats, your senior managers and so on, having to stand in front of people. It was so evident that they haven't had any practice of this.
Well, it is still very evident because it's the kind of people that I'm working with all the time.
Yeah. And I was interested in that because you specifically do one-on-one coaching.
Not only, I do group coaching, but we were talking about this where a lot of my coaching is online. So I do a lot through Zoom.
Right.
I do some workshops in person as well, but a lot of my clients are not even here in this region. So therefore, we're limited to only work through Zoom. But for what I do, because I'm working very much on how you speak. It's not what you say, but it's how you deliver your message. So your voice, your facial expressions, even we can get further back from the camera. I can get them to give me some distance and we can work even on some body language.
Yeah.
But it lacks that real interactive work that you do in the theatre with people, getting them out of their comfort zones in doing exercises and things.
It's almost complementary stuff what we do because I tend not to go too much into those aspects because I'm trying to take their fear away, and maybe fear is too broad a word for it. There are people who come in very confident, but they are confident as long as things are going according to plan.
Yes.
And they are not ready to let go of control during the situation. And so they're worried and frustrated. And I get it. The stakes are higher. They're standing in front of either larger audiences or people who may hold them to a higher expectation.
Colleagues,
their colleagues, and then sometimes to the board or something.
Yes,
and they're just that's when they're worried about. Yeah. So what I tend to do with them is we work on, when we say the improv skills, we're looking at how can they remain agile in it.
Yeah.
What is their particular thing that's holding them back? And what I love most about it is because it's in person, you're doing stuff in a group, and most of the activities are quite fun. It's almost like training them without them realizing it. That's my favorite part about it. And when they reflect on it, they go, yes, that is something I do over there as well. And this is what I picked up on. So revealing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to take a little back step there because you're working with the Courtyard Playhouse
Yes.
here in the UAE.
Yeah.
It's quite a well-known, small, very quaint boutique theatre.
It is a lovely
It's got an
place.
incredible
Yeah.
vibe and atmosphere when you go in there. But I think a lot of people don't know about it, but then a lot of people
Yes.
do know about it or have heard about it.
A very niche kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about the context of this setting and the courtyard.
Yeah.
And then how these people come in.
Well, the whole history or just the recent stuff about
Well, you can
corporate?
give us a quick background
Okay.
on
I mean,
the courtyard.
it has been around almost 15 years now, and I've been there since day one. And I started getting embarrassed about it because, when you look at all the photos down the years, they're like, that guy's still there. Whereas a lot of people move around in Dubai, right? But I think we really didn't really have in mind that this is the path we're going to take with corporate training. Things just fell into place because we were doing shows and people started watching it and going, hey, I'd love for my team to be like this, or I'd like to become a bit more like this, because the work is so much about collaboration and adaptability and whatnot.
Yep.
So they started coming and going, hey, could you do something with my team? And we literally started, because I had a background in L&D, I was able to give input from my perspective about the corporate world and what we should do. And the owner, Kemsley, came from a very theater background. So I think we kind of, molded
Yeah.
the thing in really nicely. And so it just grew, word of mouth. To date, most of our work is probably our field is referral. We do other kinds of advertising stuff, but most people come back years later and they come in because their teams have some issue. They know their people are developing. And a lot of people come in because they feel they want to develop themselves now that they've been promoted.
Yes.
Yeah. So that kind of just grew the whole corporate plan. There's one interesting story I can share.
Yeah.
It's one I love sharing, actually. It was one of our oldest clients, Publicity. It's a media company, quite a large one. And they had one guy who came in and we worked with him. Eventually, it took a while, but eventually he started doing shows and performing and everything. His boss came in and said, if you can get him to develop. And since then they've just brought their teams in because they're like, great, like
Amazing.
you can make things happen. And that is that is very fulfilling about the work we do.
So that's a really good point, though. It's basically, if you have the skill set and you put yourself in the right situation,
Yes.
anybody can learn these skills.
Absolutely. I fight this, expectation or assumption all the time. People come in and, oh, no, I think you're born with this and stuff. And I go, I was scared to step up in front of people. I didn't do it till I was, I know you had a early start with your
Performing and singing,
performing.
yeah.
Yes, I did not. I had no formal training till after 21. And even the first time I remember, it was a program in my bachelor's where it was called speech and communication.
Okay.
I did not know that meant presentations as well. And on day one, when the professor was like, you're all going to do at least 4 presentations, I was figuring out how to drop out.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
I was like, I need to drop out of this. And that's, and so I say it very humbly, very honestly, that anyone can do it. I just strongly believe in it. I've seen people, the timeline is different. Some people will catch on, so there's a little bit of knack, or they might have some kind of upbringing that has helped it. And then some people take time. I've seen people who took a year or 2 before they finally cracked it, and then transformed into great speakers and presenters. So it's wonderful.
It's very much about allowing yourself to get out of your comfort zone, to experience something new, and stretch yourself beyond your current circle, make that circle bigger until you get comfortable in that circle, and then you can just keep expanding that circle. But it's that first breakthrough.
Yes, that's it. I'm curious about, because you went from performing, similar pathway in terms of into then helping people. Are there times when, at the beginning especially, did you have these moments where you're like, just do it? It's
Yes, of course.
Right?
You don't
It's-
understand what the barrier is.
Yeah.
It's
You know,
interesting.
I can do it. Why can't you do it?
I saw Stephen Bartlett
Right.
recently on one of his podcasts. He talked about a scientific experiment where they put a spider on a piece of paper and they draw a circle around the spider.
Interesting.
And the spider will not cross that line. Will not cross that line and leave
Wow.
that circle.
Just a
Just a
but that's
line
not-
on paper. It sees. Oh, actually, I think they started with an ant and then they moved to
Right.
to a spider. But they the same situation.
They all created.
They would
yeah.
not move beyond this barrier that they could see, but wasn't really there.
Right.
And I just think that's an interesting analogy to how we can put ourselves in this little
Yeah.
bubble, and you can't break through that.
Yeah.
And it's
That
an invisible barrier. that
Yes,
you-
that reminds me of the elephant one. Also, if you've heard, when they're small, they put a chain on their foot, or circuses used to do something like that. And it's a wooden peg, and because it's too weak at that time to break it, even after it's fully grown, it doesn't. Once you chain it, it's like I'm trapped.
this is
even
where-
though
yeah.
at that time, yeah,
And interesting with this circle, I think once they kept starting making the circle smaller and smaller until it was right at their legs.
yeah,
And the minute the spider happened to accidentally get its leg over the line,
right.
it was off. It was
Really?
off.
Oh, so it's like that pivoting moment. That is so true. We had my in-laws have had a huge dog. It's a Caucasian Shepherd. Go home and look at the pictures of it because it is a ferocious looking. It's like a lion. All right,
Okay.
it's a dog breed, but it's a lion. And it was really funny. He was quite aggressive by nature, that breed. But at home, we'd keep this flimsy. Honestly, if he got close and just did that, it will fall over. But he would not, because it was marked as a puppy that this is
Right, your barrier.
Your barrier. It never crossed it. It would not touch it. And it was flimsy. And I used to just wonder. So it sounds like the whole ant and spider thing that
Yeah.
you're saying.
Very interesting. Same with the elephant. If the elephant had taken that risk and pulled the peg out, it would have
Yeah.
realized it was free. It's bringing it back then to us as people. We hold ourselves. We have these invisible barriers, and we, until you break through them, then you realize the possibilities. But
Yeah.
a lot of people find that difficult.
It becomes comfortable for them as well. Because you could come in, and that's the hard bit about coaching, I suppose. You could tell them, look, this is a fake line, and come out. And they still won't.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like encouraging them and making them reflect until they get to that point.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's funny when you say about like making it smaller. That does make me think about some of the improv work we do, because we do add restrictions on them while they're playing. And those restrictions are the ones that they eventually kind of force them to do something out
Okay.
of, and crack a little bit as well. So that is quite interesting to me.
Tell us a little bit about then some of the games or
Yeah.
the
There's one-
exercises. Let's
There's
say,
one
that
I'll
you
play
do.
with you in a bit. One of my favorites. But the fact that you were talking about the ant and the spider, it reminds me of almost like a warm-up exercise I do called Zombies. All right, and it's played in a large group. And what you do is you get everyone in a circle, and you ask one of them to become the zombie and just walk over to the other person. If I reach you, like a tag game, if I tag you, we swap places.
Okay.
Right. Now, what happens is if you're the potential victim I'm walking over to, you can divert me by calling someone else's name.
Okay.
Right. And you would think that would be easy. I know everyone in the group. All I have to say is Emma or Mary, and off the zombie goes.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised how much when the zombie's walking towards you, people blank out or they freeze and they do this and kind of
Really?
look. Yeah, it is really funny. With most groups, if they're at a decent caliber, they'll get this quickly enough. They'll
Yeah.
calm down. Then I add the element that really throws them off, which is now I'm going to walk to you and you can't call the name out to save yourself. You have to look across at someone and hope that they will say a name to save you. So you're kind of depending.
Right.
And that adds this element of group fear. And one of the things everyone realizes at the end is I asked them, so what were you scared of? The zombie. Is it a real zombie? No, it's my colleague. And why are you acting like it's a real zombie? It's like we create the fear and hide it in our minds.
Yes.
So once they hit that point, they stop going screaming and like forgetting everyone's names to kind
Fascinating.
of. Yeah, it's a really fascinating one for me for a group game, and just introducing stage fear and talking about the limitations and creating that fear in our heads. So I love that one.
I
Yeah.
also think it's partly all of a sudden everyone's looking at me. It's, I'm on, the zombie's coming at me and everyone's wondering how I'm going to react. So, the pressure's on and that's when people freeze up.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another element of it, is everyone's being watched. I mean, that aspect is revealed even when I'm sure you do these name games, right?
Yeah.
Introducing just your name, not even yourself. And then I ask them to introduce the person next to them. And they'll be like, I don't know, I wasn't listening, because they're so worried about their turn coming that as soon as they've done it, they're relieved. And they're not listening to what's happening around them.
That's true, yeah. So you're blocking out. And that leads me to where you've got people who, one of their biggest, I guess, challenges is speaking spontaneously.
Yeah.
And when you're not present in the moment, you're not going to be able to keep up with the conversation as well as keep your thoughts clear about what's going to come next. And I think people are so worried in a conversation about what am I going to say next? What am I going to say next? That they're not present in a conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're thinking ahead. They're not in the moment. And they will just have things coming up in their mind about what could happen.
Yes.
That's probably one of the hardest things to teach people is to be there. And then you become a much stronger communicator.
And it doesn't have to be even in an interview or a conversation like this. It can even be when you are presenting on stage. Yeah. You're the one, but you're so worried about your content and what's going to come next, and am I going to remember it? Yeah. Or what are they thinking about me while you're presenting, that you don't make a connection with your audience.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the funniest things that do come up when people realize it is I ask them, I'm like, hey, do they know everything you're about to say? And they go, no. Yeah. Even if you were watching a play, the audience doesn't know every dialogue that they say. And in my whole life, all the shows and presentations, I've never seen anyone in the audience stand up and go, hey, you didn't cover slide 5. I'm leaving. Right? Yeah. And that really makes them go, yeah, they don't know what I'm about to say. And I could skip something or I could adapt it. And there's no harm done by it. And it's funny though, just having them realize that though.
That's the same in performing. As an actor, the audience never knows what you intended or what the line was supposed to be, unless it's Shakespeare and they know every single word off by heart. But and the same as anything, a singer, a dancer, whatever you're doing out there, nobody knows what was intended.
Yes.
It's how you show up in that moment as to whether or not you let them realize that something didn't go to plan, or whether you can just keep it going.
Yeah. And they're so stuck that I think in when we bring the communication to aspects of one-on-one meetings and stuff, and we talk about how you obviously do have an agenda. So you want to get somewhere, or you want something out of this person. You want them to coach them or whatever. And they get stuck in that they miss out so much that the other person has shared, and that could lead to the conversation actually going better. But they're stuck on going, I need to tell them about A, B, and C. So I'm going to ignore what they said and pull them back to my point. And those are things that really pop up in improv games and exercises as well. I really enjoy seeing people's strengths and their nature. I won't call it weakness or development areas. Their nature reveal itself, because you can't hide it in those games. It just pops out. They're having fun. They're kind of hypnotized in a way away from thinking too much about how I am. And then you go, okay. And so it's really revealing for me to go, this is what you can work on.
Yeah.
And this is what's happening with you. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Clifton Strengths?
Clifton's strengths? No.
Okay, it's a test. I think a lot of corporates go through it, but
Yeah.
I've done it myself. I actually had a guest on the podcast who teaches presentation skills based around
Right.
what your personal strengths are.
Okay.
So it's an assessment
Right.
that you go through 250 questions, and you have to answer them within a few seconds. You can't think about them as you go. And it basically gives you then a personality breakdown of what kind of a person you are. And you may have heard of similar sort of analyses where they put you into
Yeah.
categories of what color you are.
Yes.
Well, it's very, very similar.
This would be very detailed if it's 250 questions. I've never done something
Yeah.
that lengthy.
It is very detailed and it's very fascinating what comes out of it.
Have you done it then?
I've done it, yeah. And I came out as all influencer.
A rainbow? Oh, okay.
No, so I was all the orange strengths, which are communication, influencer, being present, all the stuff about being out here, being
Yeah.
on camera, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you also see where you're weak as well, or the
Okay.
things that, let's say, they're not the areas that come to the forefront. But the purpose of it, I guess, is that even when you don't have these orange strengths, you can use other strengths to bring out in those
Right.
moments. And
Okay. So you adapt your presentation style to
according
it.
to your personality and
That
where
is-
you are strong.
That is so interesting. So you obviously have a nice, you've got the right orange
all the
personality
orange,
for
yeah.
performing. What was the area that was because I'm interested in understanding how I would adapt something. So what was, would you mind
Oh
revealing?
my- yeah, I mean, I'd have to go through all of those ones that are right down the bottom. But I think it even came down to how empathic you are and
Yeah.
things like that.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
I do think I'm empathic, but it didn't come in my top strengths.
Really?
Yeah.
I would imagine you come across as that would be high on
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
scale. What about the other ones? I'm curious because this is quite interesting and again complementary to the work we do. What about other people who are not orange? So they're not, their strengths lie in how
So
does it
let's-
practically?
Yeah, let's say you're a very introverted IT, very analytical person, then your strengths are going to be more into that direction.
Yeah. And they're structured and they're
Yeah, or people who are very structured, people
Right.
who,
And
gosh, now you put
what's
me
the
on the
word?
spot to remember exactly
analytical.
what this is. Yeah, of course, yeah.
So they lean into that.
Yeah.
They actually teach them to lean into it instead.
Yes,
That
yeah.
is, I'm a very strong believer about that because people come in with preconceived notions that I have to mold myself in a way. And I also talk to them about being authentic and not trying to copy someone else because some people are larger. They're happy, they're extroverts, they might be funny, and I just say if you don't, you can learn that as a skill along the way, but lean into what you do. So I think that's really a great tool then for that. Yeah.
That's actually just a great point, to be
Yeah.
uniquely you and not try to be somebody else, because there's nobody like you. People will identify and connect with you as you are. And if you're
Yes.
always trying to be something else
Yeah.
because you feel you have to fit a mold, then it's not going to, as you say, be authentic and be receptive to people.
One of the exercises we do for that is we get these guys at the end of the day to do some improvised monologues.
Okay.
And I won't bore you with the whole setup, but essentially what they're doing is coming up, leaning into their history and coming up with a personal story in the moment.
Yep.
It's sparked by a random word given to you.
Okay.
And then we do it, and then they end it by saying, what I learned through that was this, and what the business can learn is this, right? From a business perspective. And I love it because it's so personal. Most people step up and go, I don't have any stories.
Oh, yes.
Some people,
Yes.
you get that and you go, no, you've been alive 35, 40 years. There's got to be one story that you have, right? And sometimes I joke with them and say, look, don't look for the most exciting story about the time you fought a tiger or whatever. Just whatever comes to your mind. And I think what it reveals to them when they actually do it, skipping to the end, is that the group realizes we all have a shared human experience. And so that authenticity, when I lean into it and when I share something about my own, most of the time, people have either had the same experience or something similar to it.
Yep.
And the lesson, I make them come up on the spot. So it's not like they go back and they think about the story, come back with the lesson in mind. They're doing it live, spontaneously. And at the end of the story, when they finish, they have to go, and so the lesson I learned.
Yeah.
and it forces them to realize all our human stories have lessons that relate to people.
Absolutely.
And that's a real, I love doing that with people and they have that moment of going, yeah, it's okay to be me. And lean into it.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
I do a lot with storytelling as well. And,
Right.
and you're right. People just struggle. You know, what stories do I have? I don't have any stories. Nothing that anyone will want to listen to. But it can be the smallest.
that line.
Yeah.
Yes.
The smallest little thing, even just going shopping for a carton of milk or something that happened to you in that moment. But you can always then find a connection back to the main message. And that's what I teach people to do as well. Find those underlying key messages. And then I'm telling you this because it relates to this. And that's where the audience, they feel themselves in you because they've been there as well. And it just makes genuine connection.
I laughed. I'm not going to lie. The first couple of times it happened to me where someone said that, I got really frustrated. You know, this is way back when I was starting out, and I was just like, just think of a story, you know? Come on. You know, you have these things cross your mind. I'm not going to repeat them, but I was just like, come on, man, just tell any story. I don't know if you face this. Another interesting thing that happens to people is when I do tell them something along the lines of the personal story, they will talk generally about things. And they'll be like, well, when I was 14, I used to like playing soccer, and I went to...
Fact, tell a story.
Sorry, what?
Fact, tell a story. They're telling it as... something that happened to me. I did this, I did this, I did this.
Not even that much. They'll just talk broad. So I tell them sometimes to challenge them or kind of narrow it down for them. I say, think back to when you were a teenager, you know, 10 to 14, 15, whatever. And think of some incident that comes to your mind about that time. It can be good, bad, whatever. But they'll talk in general terms. Oh, you know, I grew up there, and my parents loved skiing, and they talk broadly about their life.
Right.
And to get them to focus
just on one incident.
Yeah. Some people struggle with that too. Like I have to keep kind of jumping in to coach them in, all right, what about that? You talked about your dad. What's some memory you have? Okay. In that memory, what was, you've not faced that. And
absolutely. No, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I try to get them to be in that moment. How did it feel?
Right.
What did you see around you? So that you're setting a scene for those that are with you. And the more you can actually just put yourself back into that memory, and you can imagine it as it's out, playing out.
Yeah.
Then you start to speak about it differently. And then your audience feels like they can be there with you.
We give them a little tool for this, and it's called Story Emotion Color. It was this person from Canada, Sean Kinsley, who's a really great teacher of improv and performer, and he took us through this. And it's so exactly what you're doing, but just framing it with 3 different parts of the story. The word story being the narrative aspect, the emotions, kind of what are you trying to evoke emotionally, or even the emotions you were experiencing at that time to share that. And then the colors, sort of like the details coloring in the book, you know. And most people will do, particularly in the corporate world, will do story and stick to that element of going, this happened, this happened, this happened.
Fact-telling a story.
Fact-telling, yes. So coming back to that. And then when we introduce the emotion, we play a game for it where someone's telling a story and the audience shouts emotion. And then they have to pause the story and just do that until the audience moves them on.
Okay.
So sometimes it's funny. They go, color. And, well, my dad had a big mustache. He was 6 foot. And so they have to keep going on, whereas they don't think about adding those elements. And then they see how visually it stayed with the audience stronger.
Yes.
And not rush the story.
Yeah.
It's a great one I was introduced to, and I practice it and I teach people it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done something very similar as well, where you throw out these words. Okay, I want more imagery. So you let them go for a little bit until, okay, now move on because it's now too much.
Yeah.
But helping them to feel, put more in.
Yeah.
And
but it gives them a
it.
chance to see what the audience actually wants
Yeah,
and
that's
get that feedback, which normally you can't. You can't go up to your audience after and go, hey, give me feedback on what I did. You can if there's someone you know in there, but generally you don't. And this, you get to go, they do want to hear those aspects. Yeah. It's I'm a bit mean, so what I do at the end is I get them to stand. It's a group. Well, you should try it sometime. And I get the rest of the group to stand in 3 parts, so each represents story, emotion, color.
Okay.
And then as this person is telling the story, this time, if they feel ignored, their element is ignored, they take a step forward. So they're kind of coming back to the start. They start walking, and their objective is to get through as much of the story before they've come crashing on him. So it's quite mean. It's quite scary to see this mob getting closer and closer. But it really gives them perspective on, great, as I was telling the story, I've not been taking care of the 3 different elements.
And these are things that you incorporate into corporate stuff, and probably also all kinds of trainings that you do.
Yeah.
But I want to know, when people are coming in from corporate, they've got this very stiff persona. Not all of them, obviously.
Yeah.
Some of them are going to be open.
Well, the second they are forced into a theater, even the most comfortable ones do come in a bit wary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how does it go from, let's say, the moment they come in, where they're, let's say, held back, withdrawn, but then after they are finished, that massive change in I would say 80%?
Yeah. I think I've been blessed to do so much that I have kind of done my own thing about how to get them there. I remember when I started and you'd have these people come in, sometimes a group would be more up for it and you'd be like, great, I had a great day. And then, like you said, there's a group that comes in, it's the IT department.
Why do we have to do this?
And they've been forced there by their managers, and they have other important work to do. And I used to sit there and go, this is going to be a long day.
Yeah, because you've got to work harder to get that out of them, obviously.
I used to. I actually genuinely think once they realize that I'm not, going to force them on into immediately standing alone and talking, they chill out a bit. And so I've devised games and formats in the first hour to really crack through on that. I am lucky that way. Our work is collaborative. So they realize quickly I'm doing stuff with pairs and groups of 3 or 4. So it's hidden. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you how much you do with people on their delivery, their voice, because you'll have some people who come in and they're very shy and their voices are very soft-spoken.
Yeah.
You'll have other people who maybe the opposite, they're very brash or just that monotone, I'm very one level and I can't get out of this because I don't know how to express myself. Plus you've got here the added complexity of different cultures and different accents.
Absolutely.
Do you work much with that?
I do. Some of our teachers, our trainers are from more bigger acting backgrounds, and they have very standard acting exercises that they'll do. I do a little bit of it. My philosophy is a bit like tricking them into it. So I might set up work where they're forced to kind of stand away a little apart on the stage and communicate, and that naturally forces them to raise their voice. Or they'll do a game called, as an example, like Conduct a Story, and it's 5 people standing there telling the same story, and they quickly realize I need to be much more clear and loud enough for the person on the edges to hear, because I force them to continue exactly where the last person left off.
Okay.
And so they have to kind of up their game about listening and voice and stuff, and they realize very quickly that I can, and this is natural, and I need to do, my voice is too low. Because the group kind of self-corrects as well. They'll be like, hey, I didn't hear what he said. Or she was too quick.
Or somebody's a mumbler, can you please, I can't understand what you're saying because I speak
Some
too
people speak
closely.
fast. And so all of that is kind of done within the format of the game quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
If we have time, I'd like to try one with you.
Okay.
If you're up for it.
Let's try it. Let's try it now.
It's one that kind of gives an idea about the work we do.
Yep. Let's go for
It's
it.
an exercise called Word at a Time. I don't know if you've done it before. It's a very simple one. You pair up people and you ask them to create a story together. The caveat being that you're only allowed to add one word as you create the sentences. You've done it. All right. So as you're playing it, let's try one. And then I'd like to ask you a question about it. Would we have like a 30-second time period? We can try this. Cool.
Okay.
If it's okay with you, I'd like to start with once upon a time, and then let's see where it goes.
Okay.
Yeah. Once
Upon
a
time
there
was
a
giant
elephant.
in
The
zoo.
so
He
decided
to
break
free
and
risk
his
life.
then
He
ran
fast
and
stumbled
into
a
amusement.
park.
Good. Thank you. I'll pause it there. We could go on and on. And obviously, coming from a background that you are, it's easier for you. But when you start reflecting on it, there are moments in the story you could tell with each other that that's not where
What I planned.
you have this visual coming out, right? And that is the essence of our games, about getting them to people who are thinking too far ahead will get so frustrated with this game to the point where they'll tell the other person, listen, no, say this, right?
Right. Oh, really?
Oh, I've seen all kinds of stuff. So they'll tell the person, say da, or say cat, right?
Yeah.
Or they'll try to lead it
Yeah.
by going with their body language. They'll be like, we went to the door and we opened. Yeah. And it's so revealing to people when they reflect on it and they go, right, I am planning too far ahead. I'm not even paying attention to what's going on, and so on. And I play it different ways. But to me, it's such a great exercise to highlight where your mind is at while you're playing it.
Yeah, that's very good.
It's a fun one.
Yeah. I want to just
Yes.
quickly also talk about the PowerPointless. I came to one of those shows.
You haven't done it yet, though, right?
I haven't done it, and I'll pluck up the courage maybe eventually.
Yeah.
I think I need some training for it. I think you have to have a bit of training for it.
I think so. I think definitely, like anything, a little bit of formatting and a little bit of help, training might help. Yeah.
But let's
absolutely.
just briefly explain. I know we're running a bit short on
No,
time.
that's
then,
okay.
But what is PowerPointless?
PowerPointless is basically getting people to stand up, delivering a presentation on a topic they did not know they were going to do it on, to slides that they haven't seen before. And these slides may be as random as a picture of a cat and then some financial figures, and they have to talk about a product launch. And they do it within that time zone. In the show, we get judges to give them points after and a little bit of feedback. So we get like business coaches as well too. It's a really nice, fun one.
Yeah.
It's scary. I'm going to tell you I can't help you with it because that's my kryptonite.
Really? Really?
I came in, the first time we did it, I came in so full of myself thinking, I do stand-up comedy. I'm a decent improviser. I'm going to nail this. And then every time I've done it, I've been horrible at it. And it's just been to the point where, the rest of the artistic team at Courtyard went, let's cast someone else for that show. I'm no longer.
But this gets us right back to, it almost loops us back to where we started, where we were talking about people who struggle in that moment. Everything is fine if I've been able to pre-prepare my presentation and I know exactly what's going to come next. But when you don't know what's going to come next, that's where people crumble.
Yeah.
And so that ability to be very spontaneous in the moment is a skill.
Yeah.
And I do believe it's a skill that you can develop.
Absolutely. I think it's a skill and it's a muscle.
Yeah.
Even if you develop it, it's like going to the gym for it. You have to keep putting yourself through it to grow it and keep it intact and stuff. And I see then it transfers to other areas of your life. If you think it's a nirvana kind of state where I'll do it once and then I'm there and I'm good forever, sorry.
I love that you said that, because I think that's a great way just to wrap this up, that it's about muscle memories. It's really about training something into you so it becomes second nature. But if you leave it for a while, you might sort of you'd be able to get back on that bike a little bit. It'll go faster for you. But when you keep the skills trained and present all the time, then,
Absolutely.
it's easy.
I've been very lucky over the years to see people transform. I really have. And it's why it's not a pitch to anyone. It's why I'm passionate about the work, because I genuinely think it works. Yeah.
I love that. So, Salman, I'm going to have to get you back for a second episode.
Sure. No, I love
A
being
part
here.
two.
I got to pick your brain as well, which was nice.
No, I really enjoyed the conversation as well.
Wonderful.
So if people are wanting to reach out to you, but also are interested in the Courtyard Playhouse and what they have to offer, I know I'll put all the links into the show notes, but just give us a quick overview of where we can find you, where we can find information.
Right. I would direct people to the website, courtyardplayhouse.com. We're quite active on social media as well, and at Courtyard Playhouse, particularly on Instagram. And then these young people have got us on TikTok, which I'm not involved in, unfortunately. So those are good ways to contact. And then if you're particularly looking for corporate work, Kylie is the contact person there. She heads the corporate programs. She would be able to help you out with what to do. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
We'll get you back.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Great.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Impact Through Voice podcast. Now, if you've reached the end of this episode, then it means you're enjoying the podcast. So I have a quick favor to ask. If you haven't yet subscribed, please go and do it now and even leave us a review, because it really does help us so much to reach more people and impact more people. And I would be very, very grateful. Now, I love to read all of your comments about the show and what you're enjoying, what you would like to hear more of. So please take the time and go and do that now. When you do that, please take a screenshot and then tag me on Facebook or Instagram. That's Lisa Hugo Official. Now, I'm going to be sure to share your post, and I'm also going to private DM you with a thank you. And it also means you won't miss an episode. And as a subscriber, then you're going to get access to more content that we don't even open up to everybody. So thanks again. And until next time, keep on working towards your goals and making a positive impact on the world with your voice.